Today, both for the press event and the water chestnut poll. And thank you to all of the public officials who are here today, while also working on behalf of this river and the parklands around it. Our organization is very excited about the changes to the system about grading and what it communicates about the river. I'd like to introduce Ken Maraf to start things off from the US EPA. He is the Director of the Office of Ecosystem Protection at EPA's New England Regional Office, with responsibility for federal clean air, clean water, and climate change programs in the 6 New England states. We're grateful for his attention on the Mystic River. Ken?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Well, first, thanks to everyone who made this event possible, to EK and Patrick and all the volunteers from the Watershed Association who have done such a great job. And the association's really been a fierce champion for this river, so thank you for that. This is your work that's being reflected in the report card today. I want to acknowledge Mayor Cartatoni. I know Mayor McGlynn would have been here if he could, and all the other officials who were present. Thank you for coming. So, turning to the report card, we're doing something different this year. In the past, we've always done a single grade, and the grade has not been very good. Last year was a D. This year, we decided to focus on individual segments, to break the grade out so that we can really focus on how we're doing in the individual parts of the river. And we learned a lot by doing that. For one thing, we learned that the main stem of the river is really doing very well. The grades for the main stem range from a B+ in some areas to an A+ in others. That's the result of tremendous hard work by a lot of people, including a lot of people here today. So thank you for that. To be able to stand right by these docks and look out at clean water is really something we can all be proud of. So thank you for all that hard work. We also learned that we have real challenges in the tributaries, and these are the small rivers and streams that run through our neighborhoods, past people's backyards. We have real challenges there, grades ranging from C+ down to an F. That's where we really need to redouble our efforts. We know what the challenges are, we know what we need to do. We need to get sewage out of the storm drains. That's a real problem. No one in the year 2015 should have their neighbor's sewage running past their backyards. We need to keep working on that. We've now gotten 31,000 gallons a day of sewage out of the stormwater system. That's a real achievement, but there's a lot more to do, so all the communities are going to have to keep working on this. The other challenge is just stormwater in general that washes animal waste and other pollution off of our sidewalks and our streets. We need to do a better job addressing that. A lot of communities have really done a great job starting to address the problem, but there's a lot more to do. We'll be really buckling down and focusing on stormwater over the next few years, because we need to get to the point where the Malden River and Alewife Brook and Mill Creek are all rivers that we can look at and say we're proud of how we're managing our water. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Ken. I'd like to invite up Ekankar Singh Khalsa, Executive Director of the Mystic River Watershed Association.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Ken, for coming out. Thanks to the City of Somerville and to the Mayor for their hospitality, and to all our public officials for attending this event. Thank you to Senator Dalen, who is here with us, and Representative Denise Provo. This has really been a collaborative effort over many decades. I think it will surprise people that through this new grading system, we're going to get a much better understanding of water quality in the Mystic River watershed. As Ken mentioned, we're going to get that better understanding because we're now breaking the grade out into the water body segments so that it's very clear to see where we have good water quality and where we really need to do a lot of work. So if you can struggle your way past the bicycles and all the wires, you'll actually be able to see this new map, which shows green, yellow, and red. And as you see, there's a lot of green. What this grade illustrates is that both the freshwater and the saltwater sections of the Mystic River, from the Tobin Bridge all the way up to the Mystic Lakes, is boatable 99% of the time. So that means that water meets boating standards nearly all the time, and I think we should applaud that. It also means that swimming in the upper Mystic Lake is highly recommended. That water is rated A+, which means that our water quality standards meet our water quality samples meet swimming standards 100% of the time at the Mystic Lakes Dam. So that's huge news, and I think may surprise a lot of people. We hope that this new data will inspire many more people to enjoy this very valuable natural resource and will encourage further investment in our local natural environment. We're really excited to share this news. We're really excited to unfold this new grading system with the help of our partners, US EPA, and the support of MWRA, who have helped for the past 15 years with all of the analytical work that's been done. I do want to celebrate that Patrick Heron and his team has created this opportunity for a more nuanced grading system by loading an incredible amount of data into our database and creating a way for us to articulate the results of that data. So in the past, where we had 180 to 200 samples that we used for the grading system, we now have in excess of 1,800 samples used to create this grade. So that was a huge effort, and we should thank Patrick for that. So if you would, please. So thanks very much. I'll see you on the river.
Thank you, EK. I'd also like to acknowledge Anthony Moreschi on behalf of Representative Catherine Clark's office here today. Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite Mayor Joe Curtatone of the City of Somerville to make a few remarks about today's grade. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. EK, the entire Mystic Watershed Association, for all their advocacy, their activism, and hard work to help us in the progress we're seeing today, and to highlight all the important work we still need to do, and to Ken and all the work your agency's doing as well. I want to thank especially my colleagues in the state delegation, Representative Provo and Senator Jalen. I want you to applaud them with me, because they've done a lot of things to fight for funding to clean up the river. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank, Mayor McGlynn's not here from Medford. Stephanie Messini-Burke, who's a candidate for mayor, who representing the city of Medford, is here representing Mayor McGlynn. I live right down the street on 10 Hills Road. I've been here for the last several years, but I grew up in Prospect Hill. And I have to tell you, for most of my life, I didn't realize Somerville had a riverfront, either here or an assembly, or a river that we could actually take advantage of. And for neighborhoods and a community with several environmental justice zones, and we're kind of experiencing the bad policies or decisions of the past, and what is being highlighted are the decisions we need to unravel as we try to build a more sustainable future, not just for Somerville, but the entire region. And working together with our partners at the state and federal delegation, and our community activists and organizations like the Mystic River Watershed Association and others, and Mystic View Task Force, we thought a little differently about how we can plan for a future of sustainability, how we think about development in a more sustainable way. And we're seeing projects like Assembly Row or at Stations Landing, projects that really leverage important assets like the Mystic River, but that also highlights the importance of why we need to do more. On the Assembly Road project, we worked with our development partners in the state and the delegation to get an investment just to build a boardwalk, which you see at the end of the street, to connect the banks underneath another field transportation policy, the extended Route 28 secondary arterial. By connecting the shore, we opened up the entire Mystic and the entire watershed in Fellsway for walking and biking. That's small investment, and thought about that. Working with the MAPC, the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, the Metro Mayors Coalition, we've tried to highlight what a different approach to understand what the future land use policy should be around the watershed, and what our decisions around development do to either enhance the quality of the watershed or degrade it. So we're thinking differently about that, but there's such great opportunity. communities to work together to leverage this great environmental resource to improve our quality of life, to improve and reverse the conditions we created decades or generations ago, and to improve economic opportunity as well. So I really want to thank you all for being out here today. I really want to thank all those who come out every day to enjoy the watershed, to run across the river, to fish, to boat. We need to make the entire watershed swimmable, fishable for everyone. And every leg into the main river has to be improved. So I look forward to working with all of you, the association and others and our partners to make that happen. Thanks for coming out today. And I do want to give a great big shout out to the Concoms of Medford and Somerville as well for all the great work they do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Curtatone. I'd like to invite up Alicia Hunt on behalf of Mayor McGlynn from the Office of Energy and the Environment. Alicia Hunt.
Hello. I do not have the gift of oratory that Mayor McGlynn and Mayor Curtatone have, but I wanted to bring Mayor McGlynn's greetings and thank you for this significant change to the report card. It is very important to us to be able to get people out onto the river, to the lakes, to the main stem, for people to be able to enjoy and feel comfortable enjoying these parts of the river. We have been working to put boat put-ins in Medford, as we have at the Condon Shell Park, where anybody can come, put a small craft, a canoe or a kayak into the river. And we are looking for other opportunities to do that in the city of Medford. And this helps us explain to people why you can do that, but why we still need to invest in this watershed, while we frequently partner with the Mystic River Watershed Association on grants, thanks to our state and federal partners, in order to be able to continue to work on the various issues of this watershed. So thank you very much to our federal partners, the EPA, to DCR, DEP, and to the Mystic River Watershed Association.
Thank you, Alicia. I'd like to invite up Jonathan Yeo, who's the Director of the Division of Water Supply Protection for the Department of Conservation and Recreation.
Good morning. Thanks all for coming out. I represent the Department of Conservation and Recreation, which runs the parks and the boardwalks here, and also has been in charge for the last 4 years of the large-scale water chestnut removal out here on the river, which has made great strides in improving this river. What we're doing with the large mechanical harvesters to clean up this river is incredibly important, thanks to our legislative delegation and now the Baker-Polito administration to continue funding for this removal. But also it's all of you and Mystic River Watershed Association, our partners, in helping do the hand pulling and all of the smaller operations that go hand in hand with the big mechanical harvesting, really to make this river greatly improved in the last several years. Really congratulations to your whole team in getting these this report card and getting pretty good grades. And I think the future of this entire region is really bright. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for the cities and for these neighborhoods. And thanks to Rainey Moore and the park DCR park team over here, that on a daily basis are trying to keep these parks for use for everybody. And thanks to our legislative delegation to help us on boardwalks, the new park down there at Assembly Row, and the future here is really bright, and DCR is looking to play an even bigger role here in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. We have one more invited speaker, and that is Mr.